say Black Lives Matter because I believe all lives matter, and why do we need to separate ourselves and say, well, only Black Lives Matter? All lives matter.
What's up, beautiful and amazing souls? And guys, in today's video, it's all about the black people, because some black people, they don't want to accept the fact that they originated or they have African DNA. So there has been a lot of discussions in the online community. I want us to listen first, and then I'll come back and do more analysis. So let's watch the videos.
Black Americans who claim your family isn't from Africa, I got news for you. Your grandparents did not lie, and the research backs up their claim. See, this has been on my mind for the last 3 days. Ain't no way the transatlantic slave trade happened the way they claimed it happened. Logistically, it is not possible. It doesn't make sense. If you know them like I know them, risk versus reward, they are not going to do that. But every time I did the research, were black people or dark-skinned natives in the Americas before colonization, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, Gemini always came back negative. Now this morning, Spirit hit me and said, the Americas wasn't founded until 1776. So that prompted me to change what I entered into the research. Now I asked, were dark-skinned natives in the landmass we now call America before colonization? And the research drastically changed. Yes, there were dark-skinned indigenous people on the landmass now called the Americas long before European arrival. That part is not controversial among serious historians or anthropologists. Skin tone. Many indigenous people of the Americas historically had dark brown to copper skin, especially in the Caribbean, Central America, South America, and the southern parts of North America. Lighter skin becomes more common further north due to the climate adaptation, not racial origin stories. Indigenous Americans range from dark-skinned and tightly curled hair, some Amazonian and Caribbean groups, to straight hair and lighter complexion. This diversity existed before European contact. Race as we use it today did not exist. Europeans did not describe people primarily as black, white, or native until much later. Identity was tribal, cultural, linguistic, and geographical, not color-coded. So, what we have to understand is that race did not exist until colonization. Black did not exist until colonization. Nor did the Americas exist until colonization. So, if you want your research to come back more differently, what you have to ask is, did dark-skinned people exist, dark-skinned natives exist in the landmass we now call America before colonization? And I guarantee your research is going to come back drastically different. Happy 2026, you guys. I hope this video helps with your research and discovering the truth about black people and their history, their ties to the Americas. I talk about reparation, delineation, law, as well as spirituality on this page. Please give me a follow. Follow me on YouTube. I'm going to have panelists who also discuss a lot of these topics as well. Okay, now I'm going to continue on. What this statement does not automatically mean. It does not mean all dark-skinned people in the Americas were Africans. It does not mean there were no Africans bought later through the transatlantic slave trade. The Americas were already populated by diverse, dark skinned, indigenous people long before European arrival, and later European systems deliberately blurred, erased, and reclassified identities to maintain power.
You can clearly see the difference between the Americans and the Africans. All five of those women were absolutely beautiful. Let's start there. Now, you can clearly see the difference between the Americans and the Africans, okay? This isn't one of those posts where, oh, Americans this, Black Americans this, African. No, that's not. No, no, no. It's clear to see that we're not the same, and that's okay. Okay? It's clear. Online discussions of, oh, Africans do look like African Americans. African Americans look like Africans. No, the fuck we don't. We don't. We're not even the same ethnicity. We're not. As clear as day. You saw the two Black women. When I say Black, I'm talking about the Black American women. And then you've seen the three Africans. Clearly all different phenotypes. But the American women stood out the most because they look like I do. Okay? There's a clear difference in our DNA, in our ethnicity, and that's okay. It's up to you, the rest of the Africans, to just accept that we're not the same and it's fine. Are we part of the same group as being Black people? Yes, 100%. But a Japanese is not the same as a fucking Chinese or a Taiwanese or a Cambodian or a Filipino. They're all Asian, but they ain't the same. Ask them. So why is it that when Black Americans make that separation and say, no, we all Black, but I'm American, you're African, or Gambian, or Zimbabwean, or whatever. Why is it a problem when we do it?
So I shared my DNA results on TikTok, and some very interesting things happened. One, I found out that I am no longer a Black American. Yes, I was told that Black Americans do not have African DNA. And because my ancestry came back sitting at an 86.4% African ancestry, I am an African. I am not a Black American, so I would be considered an African American. So there has been a clear separation within the community, and I'm here to let y'all know, if you have West African ancestry, you are not a Black American, okay? The Black Americans were already here, okay? They are the owners, they are the inhabitants of the land. They have already been here. Their ancestors did not go through slavery. Their ancestors did not experience colonization, and their ancestors have nothing to do with Africa. This is what I've learned. This is what I have come to the conclusion. By the way, I'm not offended to be African at all. Not offended at all. But I do have a couple of questions for you guys. So since you guys have made a clear separation and you are not a part of the African diaspora, my question is, who gets to claim the culture? Because it can't be you. Because the Black American, the African American culture that was built here in the United States was built by the descendants of Africans. And in fact, some of our most famous leaders who helped build the culture never made a separation or said that they have nothing to do with Africa. In fact, Frederick Douglass repeatedly referred to Black Americans as the descendants of Africans. W.E. Du Bois referred to us as part of the African diaspora. He centered Africa as the foundation to the Black identity. Marcus Garvey spoke of Black people globally as African people. His entire movement was built on African origin and pride. Malcolm X described black Americans as Africans in America. Martin Luther King, Sojourner Truth, identified as African descent. Even when we look at the black church, it was built off of the African culture that was brought over here. Its spirituality, its dance can be tracked back to Africa. Our music, the culture that we built, derived from Africa. So if you guys don't claim that, then what is your culture? I would love to know.
Okay, I didn't even want to have to speak about this, but it's become so apparent to the point where I have to talk about it because it's making me really frustrated. Every time my husband and I, he happens to be white, every time we go to a fancy exclusive restaurant and I see another black woman there, she is always, I would say 10 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10, escorting. I don't know why that is. I don't know why every time we go to an exclusive place, an expensive place, that the black women that we see there are always escorting. It's always me and one other black woman. And obviously I'm married, have a child, all the stuff, Christian woman. The other woman is always escorting. Why is that? Can we sit down and have a conversation about that? Because it's gotten to the point where I'm just like, what's wrong with black women? Like, what's going on? Why are black women doing this? And I'm making this video right now because we just came from an exclusive fancy restaurant, and yet again, the black woman that we encountered was escorting for hire. So let's have a conversation.
I say Black Lives Matter because I believe all lives matter, and why do we need to separate ourselves and say, well, only Black Lives Matter, all lives matter? Like, we want to be included in everything. We talk about how we never be white, we'll never be one of them, they're never going to accept us, white people are racist, yet we do things like making a Black Lives Matter whole movement.
Okay, so apparently the Somalis are beefing with Black America again. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Is this another one of those, Dominican, I know black things, like you don't want to be called black? But no, apparently ICE is coming to collect them because they've been doing some kind of welfare fraud. I just saw a video of a guy going to a daycare where they were like, oh, you guys got $1 million in funding, but there's no kids here. So they're saying that they're getting all this money and sending it to fund terrorists, whatever. And now ICE is coming to get them. And they want our allyship. And we're like, absolutely not. Bro, I just saw videos of them talking in their mosque about how all black people come from one-night stands. They don't know their father. Bro, the things they say about us is crazy. But I noticed that every black person that comes from another country to America takes on the white mindset. It's like they have Stockholm syndrome. Like they just started believing they're colonizers. Because we's the good Negroes. But in reality, y'all don't mess with us, so we're good.
Black people want to be left alone. They don't want revenge. They don't want to replace us, as some extremist groups have said. They just want to live life in peace, the way they want to live. They want family, they want love, and they want to live in a society where they know they belong here. They want society to also know that they belong here. They want to walk out their door and not worry that they're going to be treated unfairly, or they're going to get that look like they're not welcome, or that someone's going to try to touch their hair like a zoo animal. Yes, they want they want white people to fix white problems of prejudice and ignorance and all the ways that a wrongful sense of superiority is baked into our society. Yes, they want that to change. Yes, they want acknowledgement for harms done. They don't want us to just explain things away or justify or gloss over things without really listening. But more than anything, they want to be themselves, fully express who they are, love who they are, be with their family, and live in peace. That's it.
So, guys, before we start the main topic, what we actually know about the black people is that most of us, or rather, like this is something that we have just we grew up knowing. What we don't do most of the time is that we don't teach our children to hate anybody, and that you can bear me witness. If you come to Africa, so many people wonder, like, why are Africans so welcoming? I mean, they don't even have this fear. that the world could turn at any second, and that is us. But of course it's not right. And also, we don't teach our children that at any given point, at any given second, at any given minute, the world can turn against us. And so we should be really ready about it. Okay, I'm talking about it because other communities in the world, the other races, they are taught to be cautious of this world. Anyway, some black people believe that their ancestors did not come from Africa. Oh my God. Oh my God. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. But then again, there are those who believe that their ancestors did not come from America. Somebody was telling me that if you are black and you are denying African blood, then you must be crazy. And I don't know, like, is it genetically correct for anybody black to say that I don't have any roots in Africa? Because tell me anywhere else that has black people in this world if it's not from Africa. Because if you look at the traditions and if you look at the history of any particular place on earth, you will actually learn that any black person that exists there, very long time ago, there was probably a slave trade going on. So some black Americans, they don't want to be considered as blacks. I mean, that is crazy, right? Someone like me saying that I'm not black. It doesn't make sense anyway, guys. But I get to understand also because it depends the perspective in which you're understanding it. Because even here in Africa, if you look at the cultures and everything, we are not the same. That we cannot deny because, we have Ethiopians, Kenyans, Tanzanians, Ugandans, West Africans. All these people are unique in their own way, but they will never run away from the fact that they are blacks. So we get to understand and we get to appreciate and accept that we are unique in our own way. But at the end of the day, it's not an important issue, it's not an important topic to really dwell on it. It's only that some people come out here and they are talking about it in such a way that they seem to be so serious about it. And if you look even at South Africa, they'll be like, I'm not Nigerian, I'm not Ethiopian, which is still okay. So, did you know that some black Americans, they don't have African DNA? And I don't know what you can say about that. They don't at all, at all. And this because, some people or most black people in America, those who've never been in Africa or gone out of Africa, they do some tests to confirm their origin. Some will show that there are some percentages of some DNA in their blood from either Africa or West Africa or just any part of the world. Africans don't do that. They only do it if it's necessary. But in regards to, their children, you don't want to confirm. They don't really confirm their origin because most of them, they know up to their great grandparents. So the black people in America are very angry that they are actually African. I don't know if that is what they really mean in their hearts, or if they come out and speak on camera and video, it's just content. Probably you can tell me down in the comment section. Because why would you be angry to be referred as an African? I mean, you should just be proud. Okay, earlier I was telling you that, someone told me If you are African and you claim that you do not have African blood, then you are freaking crazy. I don't know what you think about that statement. Yeah, I don't know what you think about it. So there is this video whereby a black woman came out and said that she does not like the Black Lives Matter movement. She doesn't like it at all. So I was like, what is wrong with Black Lives Matter movement? Because it was a very good initiative. They actually came out, and it was in response of police brutality against the black people, and that is understandable. By the way, how these people came out and interpreted, I would say, this particular lady, how she came out and interpreted it, it's like as if other races don't matter, which wasn't the case at all. So for us, she prefers all lives matter, but when will all lives matter if black lives don't matter? We should first think from that perspective. And again, when they came out and talked about the Black Lives Matter, they did not say that other lives don't matter at all. Nobody said and talked about it. It's only that, black people, when it comes to police brutality, the cases kept increasing, and nobody was actually taking accountability. It was like, yeah, they deserve it. They're the ones that are causing these crimes in America. But if you see these cases that are being filmed, you will see somebody being deprived of breath until they pass on. Yet they would have been just arrested, taken into custody, and then investigated. Because some of these cases, they end up not being something really serious. For instance, this lady that was called Sonia, I think she's the one that kept calling the police to come and help, because there was somebody that was roaming around her house in the middle of the night. And then by the time the police came, they searched around, and then they turned the whole story against her, and they shot her. The camera actually showed, the police body camera showed. So that's what the Black Lives Matter meant. Anyway, as I told you earlier, it does not preach other lives does not matter at all. It was just a response to the Black lives. And yeah, we should just understand that that's all, because if you actually take the perspective of this lady, it's like she overthinked about it. That was an overthinking. So the police got away with most of these cases, which was really unfair. And if you look at other races, the white Americans, if anything like that was done to them, hey, that was a very serious case, and it will be taken, this case will be done up to the point where the justice will be found. But for black lives, no justice at all. Again, you know, as I told you, all lives matter until black lives matter. Okay, all lives that don't really matter. All lives cannot matter until the black lives matter. So Black Lives Matter was not meant to prove that blacks are better than any other race, but it was meant to bring out equality. They are as equal as everyone else. Thank you, my good people. If you watched the clip up to this point, I appreciate your presence. I'll see you in the next video.